And that's why I openly say that, why don't people come to the campus, sit through a lecture maybe, interact with current students? Because you have to be here on the campus to believe that this revolution is happening. I think it's very hard to envision the change.
Welcome back to the Strategy4GMAT channel. Today we are at Masters Union once again. There is always something or the other happening on campus. The sun never sets here. This time we are here to talk about admissions and what they look for in a candidate, what is their pitch towards the candidates, and what's new that's in store for the program this year. I'll be talking to Mahak, who's the director of the PG program here, and she's calling all the shots and running the entire show here with a formidable team. We'll be talking to her about everything from admissions to the student experience and why should you consider Masters Union as one of the schools that you would apply to. Thank you, Mahak, for taking out time and talking about admissions.
Thanks, Manan, for being here. It's always fun to show you around.
Yes, absolutely. And every time there is something new happening here, which is great.
If you're not doing that, I think as an educational institute, our single KPI is to be the cutting edge because students are expecting that from us. So I think that's an important part of our ecosystem.
Nice. So on that topic, so what else is happening versus previous year for your MBA program? What's new in store for the new class that's coming in?
In fact, couple of things, honestly, Manan. The first big one is that we've had partnerships now with Columbia Business School, NUS, Insead, and multiple other SD Bocconi, where our students will go for a 5 to 10 day of global immersion. Again, it's not a student exchange just yet, but it's a global immersion where students will go to those countries, study in those universities, get a certificate, and come back. And they would also visit a lot of businesses, local businesses over there, so that they understand what does doing business in USA look like, what does doing business in Europe look like, etc., etc. So that is one big thing that's going to be offered to the cohort of 2025, which is like the class that the commencement is going to be in June. The second big thing which I am personally very, very excited about, and you know how much at Masters Union we really want the students to build that entrepreneurial mindset. We want people to go take risk and start their own companies if they want to. So we've introduced something called Founders Fellowship for the first time, where as part of the Founders Fellowship, we're giving 40,000 rupees per month to any student who says that I want to build my startup and I'm opting out of placement for X number of months or whatever, for up till 12 months, which is almost 4.8 lakh commitment for 25 students of the cohort. And obviously, if there are more deserving students, we'll increase that. Now, the biggest worry of why people are not able to start up are twofolds, right? One is that how do you take care of your day-to-day expenses, which is why the 40,000 stipend. The other is like, agar nahi chala, to fir kya? Will I still have the placement support? And that's why the other piece that is there as part of this Founders Fellowship is that you can come back at any time. Agar aap 6 mahine baad bolte ho ki Mahak, I think I'm not able to build what I was envisioning to build, they can come back in the placement cycle of either the same cohort or of the next cohort, and we'll welcome them with both arms so that they can build completely risk-free. So those are two big things that I think have happened compared to the previous years.
And I think the last one is different from a lot of other B schools, even though they have, incubations and all that, but you have to absolutely opt out of placements and you can't come back. So that's great. Second, on the program itself, there's a lot of information on the marketing material you guys have, website. What is that one thing that you would like to tell students or for upcoming students that's not there in any of the marketing material so far?
I honestly feel that sometimes, when you see the marketing material, and I think because we also have too much social presence, we are the most followed business school. We have 500,000 followers across Instagram and YouTube. Sometimes it might feel too good to be true, honestly. And that's why I openly say that, why don't people come to the campus, sit through a lecture maybe, interact with current students, because you have to be here on the campus to believe that this revolution is happening. I think it's very hard to envision the change. I go to so many, I was meeting the CHR of Misho, and he was blown away, that, okay, something like this can exist. So that ability to envision without actually coming to the campus is very hard, I feel. So I would say that whatever's there on the marketing pages, but come to the campus, experience it.
Fair. Talking about admissions now, so it's again a different criteria given that everything is different here, right? So what kind of people are you looking for? if you have to describe like in 3 bullet points?
So 3-4 big bullet points for me. One is your leadership potential, Manan, because how have you shown that you are someone who can create a large impact? You're someone who can actually go out there in the world and do something, which people would think that yes, this is the best use of his leadership ability. So one is the leadership potential. The second one being that have you used your opportunities that came your way? You might have gone to an IIT, but you did nothing in IIT. So how did you make use of the opportunities that came your way? So have you made a good use of it? And Manan, while our 90% of our students have a 90% plus in both 10th and 12th, there are those 10% students who might have something as low as 50-60% also. Why I accept them is because then they would have done something exceptionally in some other domain, and to me that's what makes all the difference. And the third big thing is your ability to be humble, to take feedback, to be corrected. Because I think once you come to Masters Union, we have to unlearn a lot of things because everything is new age and so many leaders are coming in. It forces you to question what you already know. Either you can be a sponge or you can be a stone. If you're a stone, you're just, you'll feel kicked around. You'll feel that this is not right or whatever. If you're a sponge, you'll make so much more out of this experience. That I feel that humility, that ability to take feedback, to soak it in is very, very important when you come to a place like Masters Union.
Right, I think I can feel it every time I'm here, right? The students feel a lot more at home.
Yes.
First batch was different. Every time you're upping the ante, so I think that's great as well. So that means essentially this B school is not for everybody.
I would say that any B school is not for everybody. Even a Harvard versus Stanford, there are people who know that I'm a Harvard person or I'm a Stanford person. If you will not know, the alumni will know for sure. In our alumni mixers, when we do send-offs, and there are often times when a person's gotten dual admit from both Harvard and Stanford or Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, etc. But I think the offices or the alumni are able to tell that this person is meant for Stanford or not. Similarly, there are also a lot of cases where the person would have gotten an offer only from Harvard but not from other top schools, which also then tells you that every school is not for everybody. So I do agree that it's not for everybody. If you're coming in for a cookie cutter placement sort of approach, so a lot of places you have academics, you have placements. Here we have academics, we have this rigorous outclass sort of, go get your hands dirty, go build your startups and all. And I think hardly 10% people will actually end up building the startup right after the MBA program. But 100% of the students would have built the mindset of a startup founder, and I think that is the magic.
Great, great. And coming to specifics around the admission, so you, of course, have done away with CAT, GMAT, etc. So if somebody is coming in with these scores, how do you evaluate them in terms of, if you can just give ranges or numbers here?
Sure. So again, CAT and GMAT is good to have. It's not mandatory anymore. What is mandatory is our Masters Union Business Aptitude Admissions Test, which is the MU-BAAT. Now, what we realized is that a lot of CAT, GMAT are optimizing for very specific skill set, but that's not holistic for us. So if you look at our test, it has the quant session, but even in quant, it's very application based. We're even giving out the formula. Because I should not be penalizing how smart Manan is on the basis of your formula yaad hai ki nahi yaar aapko. If you're able to apply that formula, that's good enough, right? So that is one. The second section, there is actually a section on playing games. Because again, it's testing your motor skills, it's testing your cognitive ability, it's testing your risk-taking appetite. So there are different games testing for different things. So that is one section. The third section is actually about giving case studies which are on the spot. Imagine, Manan, you are the product manager of this company. What would you do in the next product release? Blah, blah. How will you prioritize? If you're the marketing head at this place, what would you change in the go-to-market strategy or whatever the prompt can be? And the last section is the video essay and the written essay that, talk about your leadership potential, talk about why you want to be here, etc., etc. So I feel I get such a holistic view of the candidate by looking at that exam. That it makes a lot of sense for us, and that's why this is different. In terms of people who have great GMAT CAT scores or do not have it, you can irrespectively still put those scores. We have that option to give it in the application. But if it is an exceptional score, of course, that adds to your academic bucket, because the three buckets, academics, leadership ability, and your communication, leadership plus experience, work experience. So then your academic bucket just becomes a little stronger. So it's never going to be obviously harming your application, but it's also not harming in case you've not taken it or you've scored poorly, as long as you've done reasonably well in MU-BAAT, or you have a holistic profile.
And more recently, I think you've done away with essays prior to the application.
Yes.
So what was the thought behind that? That's again a totally different move in the country, at least. So
no, that's actually a very valid question, Manan. What we saw is that in the application, because earlier we had both video and written essay, a lot of people can spend insane amount of time versus someone who might have a very tight timeline because of his job and other commitment. But that other person is also equally good or is maybe even better. I think that used to create this sense of unequal time allotted on the application. Of course, I appreciate the person who spent a lot of time also, because that shows his or her commitment, but it also gives them an unfair advantage, I felt. So it made more sense that whatever you prepared till so far, if you are given 1 or 2 minutes to prepare that essay or whatever, I will see the real ability of Manan through that on-the-spot essays and video essays and case studies. So that was the main thought, that let's make it a level playing field more than anything else.
makes sense. Before the admissions consultants come in and then they basically spoil the entire thing, you basically did away with them. That makes sense. The other big thing, which is of course placements, right? Markets are bad across the globe. You know it. So how have things been here so far?
While the markets have been bad, I will not disagree to that, Manan. I feel our processes internally have become more robust. So that's why if I look at the percentage of students who had been placed or had taken summer internships by the month of February end, and I look at data a lot because I feel that's what helps me get a lot of comfort. So cohort 2 versus, because I joined towards the tail end of cohort 2, so I don't know the cohort 1 numbers. Cohort 2 versus cohort 3 versus now cohort 4, which is the cohort of 24, which is going to graduate in 24. The numbers, the percentage of people who have already gotten offers until February is almost 2.5, 3x percentage-wise than in the cohort 2 and 3. So I feel that we're already ahead of where we were previously. So that gives me a lot of comfort. Then a lot of recruiting partners who had come to us in the past, they have continued to come samne se, ki Mahak, I need 2 more people similar to this. So there's one of the leadership team of Zepto, one of the leadership team member of that company. He's gone ahead and raised funds and all. And his first call was to me that, Mahak, because your students did so well in Zepto, I want the founding team of my new company to be from Masters Union. So to me, that's very highly validating that, okay, my students are doing well wherever they're going, and the feedback's coming great, so people are coming back. Now coming to new accounts, I feel a lot of companies are seeing the kind of work that we're doing. So we've been able to get additional on-campus recruiters who've done proper internship processes. So your Accenture, Kearney, BP, Pernod Ricard, all these companies have come for, for the first time on the campus, etc. So that way also I feel that we are able to continue pushing the door. Venture capitalists, already we have 2-3 offers. Last time towards June, probably we started getting those offers. This time already the students are way more prepared. We saw that this is a domain of choice. So already that, we're seeing that 2-3 offers have come. So, and we have 6 additional months easily. So I feel comfortable about the fact that the student preparation has improved over the years. My placement or the career team who's doing the outreach, their processes have become significantly better. Our network has grown 10x, and a big thank you to our board members also, because a lot of times they're able to open a lot of doors for us. So all in all, I'm not going to say that it's going to be easy, but I feel we're more strategic about it. Like, I've hired one person to only look at international placements at this point, because we saw last year we had 2 international placement offers, and those were like students aspire to go to international companies, etc., for exposure or whatever else. So I think we're just keeping our ears and eyes open in terms of what our talent wants, and then help them whichever journey is fulfilling for them.
And do you see the mix of kind of companies that came in changing because of the time? Let's say consulting went down, VC went up.
It's slightly early for me to say that, because I feel the mix so far has been pretty consistent. We have more number of people going in for internships, so that's definitely a big change. Because I feel like V-Mart again came for the first time for summer internship. So, we're adding a retail thing for the first time. So there are a lot of people who are doing summer internship. Like the number of people going for summer internship is larger, is the biggest change that I've seen. Last time I would say that maybe across the 160 cohort, maybe 15 people, like 10% of the cohort would have gone. And this time already 25% of the cohort, which is like 50-ish people, would be going for summer interns.
Okay. And any financial numbers you can share at this stage?
It's slightly early. What I can do, what I can say for sure is that there have been some incredibly successful placements. There have been some incredibly successful self-placed. Like there's one student who got a placement. I think I'll have to check with him before I mention it. But great placement there. Then we had someone who came in with almost a 20 lakh package from consulting front end office, and he's gotten almost a 45-50 lakh role. He first got a role through campus at ServiceNow for a very high package. Then he was also able to convert an even higher role using the campus offer, etc. Externally. So I'm seeing that people who came in with whatever expectation, the ones who are getting it are getting into the places where they wanted to be. There's someone who came in from front-end consulting at almost 25, 26, and that person's gotten again a 25, 26, but at a VC role. Oh, and he wanted to pivot. I was like, but money, he's like, that is not what I was optimizing for, Mahak. I was optimizing for a role change, and this is a big change. I wouldn't have been able to do it otherwise. So to me, it gives a lot of happiness that we are helping people reach those fulfilling careers that they had aspired to reach through Masters Union.
Very interesting.
And in terms of internships, we've seen that the highest side of the spectrum is probably at the 1.8 lakh per month sort of thing. Okay. So we're seeing good students doing well. Even internship stipend is very, very meaningful in a lot of companies. Yeah. And of course, that's the higher side. The average is probably going to be somewhere around 80-ish.
30-second pitch to the applicants who are applying to the program or to the world out there about Masters Union.
Honestly, Manan, I don't think I'll pitch because I'm getting so many applicants already, and I feel terrible about turning down so many people. Like we did mixers in Mumbai and Bangalore. And we had done it for admitted students, and of course it was public, so probably other people also got to know. There were so many people who didn't make it, they turned up. The people who were on waitlist also turned up. And to see them really want to get in, I felt terrible in that position that, we're not able to accommodate more students. I feel what I can assure is that whatever your end goal in life is, the aim is for Masters Union to fuel that, wind under your wings. If you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to become, if you want to pivot your careers, if you want to go into some other place, the hope is that this is going to be the place which is going to help you get those successful career outcomes, whatever they look like, and to help you think really big, out of the box thinking. But pitching wise, I honestly feel that we're just getting so many applicants that I want to do justice to the people who are applying and help them get in.
So all in all, let's just focus on your input metrics, doing those things right, and outputs obviously, come on their own, right? And that's the philosophy. That's if I have to summarize everything. Fair enough. I think that's good. Back to the interviews process, right? So in terms of how much you allocate in terms of criteria, once somebody gets through to the interview stage, is the interview is the only thing that matters, or there's a composite score that you have to calculate the final outcome?
So typically it's the application, then the MU-BAAT, then the interview. But we're not looking at any one of them as the only criteria. After MU-BAAT, not everybody gets interviewed. So selected people will only get interviewed. Typically 30-40% of the entire applicant pool will probably get an interview call. From the interview, again, we of course read the notes of the interviewers very intently. All the interviews are in fact recorded. So, we are also able to see what were the highs and lows from the third person perspective. So yeah, I think it's a process where we look at all of that still, not just it's not just still the interview. There might be someone, because at the end of it, there might be someone who might have done slightly not the best on that day in the interview because the stakes are so high, people get nervous and all. Or there might be someone who's done exceptionally well in the interview, but something about the application still made us question it. So 90-95% times, if the interviewer said yes, it's a yes. If they've said no, it's almost a no. I think 5% times it can be the other way around.
Great. Thank you so much for taking out time.
Of course, thank you so much.
And yeah, all the best for whatever is it new that you guys will do soon?
We will continue to be creative, we'll continue to disrupt, and we'll continue to listen to our students. Ultimately, I think that's what keeps making us better every year.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Manan.
Thank you.